Tonight, several developing stories as we come on the air. TikTok could go dark in a matter of hours. Some residents are allowed to return home after the LA wildfires. And less than 48 hours before Trump's inauguration, his border czar saying mass immigration raids are already being planned. First, the tug of war over one of the world's most popular apps. TikTok could go dark at midnight. The Chinese owner is facing pressure to sell the company over national security concerns. President-elect Trump telling ABC News he has a plan to extend the deadline, at least for now. TikTok users, including small businesses, hoping for a last-minute deal. The LA County wildfires, some areas reopened, allowing homeowners to return as evacuation orders are lifted. But conditions expected to worsen in the coming days with another round of those dangerous Santa Ana winds. Our weather team is timing it out, along with a winter storm and frigid temperatures bearing down on the Northeast. Donald Trump arrives in D.C. 2 days before his inauguration, his team promising extensive immigration enforcement and deportation operations around the country, including Chicago. New fears at the border, migrants worried about being deported, and tight security in the nation's capital with thousands of National Guard troops deployed. The Gaza ceasefire expected to take effect just hours from now. We have new reporting on the hostages to be released. But Israel's prime minister now saying the truce may not last the full 6 weeks, what he's now demanding from Hamas. Also tonight, new concerns as bird flu is detected in commercial poultry in Georgia. State officials calling it a serious threat. Poultry sales now suspended in that state. Accident on the slopes. Skiers tossed from a chairlift. At least 30 people hurt, some seriously. The NFL playoffs, the Chiefs seeking a Super Bowl three-peat. Detroit and Washington try to create a new legacy. And the coach of the LA Rams on what his team's success means for the city. Plus, America Strong tonight. With flames all around, he thought his house and his neighborhood would soon be gone. But a retired fire captain refused to give up and got some unexpected help.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening to our viewers in the West. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. I'm Whit Johnson. We begin tonight with the countdown and the uncertain future of TikTok. Owners of the wildly popular social media app threatening to cease operations and go dark at midnight unless the Biden administration opts out of a ban. The White House calling that threat a stunt. President-elect Trump telling ABC News in a telephone interview today that he will most likely give the platform a 90-day extension to keep operating in the U.S. and find another solution. All this just 1 day after a unanimous decision by the Supreme Court upholding a congressional law banning the app unless it breaks ties with its Chinese parent company, ByteDance. The justices agreeing with the government's national security concerns, but TikTok arguing that the law violates free speech. And tonight, the frustrations of millions of users, some relying on the platform as a source of income, now hoping for a last-minute deal. ABC's Alex Brachet leads us off in Washington.
Tonight, with the clock ticking on the future of TikTok, President-elect Trump signaling he could step in to prevent a potential U.S. ban on the popular app after he takes office Monday. Trump telling ABC News he will most likely give TikTok a 90-day extension, adding, "I'll do that until we figure something out," after the Supreme Court unanimously upheld a bipartisan law banning the app starting Sunday, unless it severs ties with its Chinese parent company, ByteDance. The court had cited well-supported national security concerns regarding TikTok's data collection practices and relationship with a foreign adversary.
You want to take away TikTok?
But even if Trump steps in on Monday, there's uncertainty for tens of millions of users across the U.S. as TikTok says it will, quote, go dark at midnight, unless it gets assurances from the Biden administration that the ban won't be enforced.
I'm very upset, sad, angry, many emotions.
I'm confused. I'm disappointed. It's a beautiful app.
Just hours after the Supreme Court ruling, President Biden saying any decision on implementing the ban will be up to Trump.
What's your take on the TikTok decision today? Well, the decision will be made by the next president anyway.
In a statement today, the Biden administration calling TikTok's threat to go dark, quote, a stunt, saying we see no reason for TikTok or other companies to take actions in the next few days before the Trump administration takes office. TikTok's CEO is among a number of notable tech leaders planning to attend Trump's inauguration. He posted this message supporting the incoming president.
I want to thank President Trump for his commitment to work with us
to find a solution that keeps TikTok available in the United States. We are grateful and pleased to have the support of a president who truly understands our platform.
The back and forth around the app's future leaving users, many of whom rely on the platform for income, frustrated.
It's my sole income. It's literally my sole income. So it's essentially getting fired from your career, you know?
They didn't ask small businesses what was going to happen to them, and they didn't make a plan for these families.
Alex Brochet joins us now from Washington. So, Alex, tell us what this looks like and what TikTok users could potentially see happen at midnight.
Well, Whit, TikTok could follow through on its threat to go dark and completely shut down operations in the U.S. But if that doesn't happen, the law requires app stores remove it. And so existing users could still have access, but they wouldn't have downloads or updates. But ultimately, even if President-elect Trump does go through with his 90-day extension, which would raise its own legal questions, the company would still be subject to that federal ban in just a matter of months. Wait.
And we'll see what happens just hours from now. Alex, thank you. Now to those deadly and devastating wildfires in Southern California. Firefighters appear to be making some major progress to contain the fires. Let's get right to ABC's Melissa Adan in Altadena tonight. And Melissa, some residents are returning home for the first time.
Yes, Whit, and thousands of National Guard members are set up, deployed all across Southern California. You see there's troops stationed right here. They're actually set up along this roadblock here in Altadena. This is one of the hardest hit neighborhoods just down the road past this checkpoint. And it has been more than a week since the Eaton and the Palisades fire broke out, but progress is being made. As of yet, so far, there have been now 73% contained, the Eaton fire, while the Palisades fire is 43% contained. But Whit, this has been a deadly wildfire, killing at least 27 people and leaving more than a dozen that are still missing. But officials at this time warning Los Angeles to be prepared once again, as the forecast is showing a threat for more dangerous winds on the way. Whit.
Melissa, thank you. And those dangerous winds expected to impact more than 10 million people in Southern California. Let's bring in ABC's meteorologist, Samara Theodore. So, Samara, when are these winds expected to pick back up?
Well, we're forecasting the worst of these winds Monday into Tuesday. In fact, parts of Southern California have already begun to issue red flag warnings with wind gusts as high as 60 miles per hour and extremely dry conditions, humidity down to 3%. We're also monitoring the big snowstorm moving into the northeast tomorrow through Monday morning. It'll be arriving along the I-95 corridor in the morning, moving from Washington, D.C. into New York City by lunchtime and New England through the evening before banking out of here at sunrise on Monday morning. Totals could reach anywhere from 3 to 6 inches, generally speaking, higher amounts the further inland you go. And this will be reinforced by very cold air, leading to the potential for black ice, making it a dangerous situation on the road for drivers. And on Monday, during the inauguration, temperatures will feel like the single digits. Whit?
Yeah, that bitter cold expected to cause a lot of problems. All right, Samara, thank you. Turning now to politics, and cities across the country bracing for a large immigration crackdown after the inauguration. Trump officials calling them targeted enforcement operations, which could begin in Chicago and then include other major cities. All of this as officials scramble to move Trump's inauguration ceremony indoors because of sub-freezing temperatures. Here's ABC's White House correspondent, Mary Alice Parks.
Tonight, President-elect Donald Trump touching down in the nation's capital ahead of his inauguration, promising he has big plans for his first day in office, telling our Rachel Scott he will sign a number of executive orders to roll back President Biden's emission and pollution standards and on immigration. Trump's immigration board czar saying on Fox News cities should prepare for immigration raids as soon as this week.
There's going to be a big raid all across the country. Chicago is just one of many places. We got 24 field officers across the country. On Tuesday, you're going to expect ICE. ICE is finally going to go out and do their job.
At the border, new uncertainty for those seeking asylum. It's hard. We came here with the dream of fleeing violence in Mexico, this mom says. If obtaining asylum is hard, we'll see what we can do. In the nation's capital today, thousands taking to the streets before Trump takes office, advocating for environmental protections and LGBTQ rights. Preparations underway for Monday's inauguration, a new platform being built inside the Capitol Rotunda after the last-minute decision to move the swearing-in ceremony indoors. Security already on high alert. Nearly 8,000 National Guard troops from 40 states supporting local police The head of the D.C. National Guard telling me that they learned valuable lessons after the January 6th attack on the Capitol that had the city still on lockdown for President Biden's inauguration 4 years ago, and that they are ready for Monday.
I have never felt more confident about our security posture. This is a team that's been working together for months, and it's about ready for any contingency.
Yeah, the Major General, they're assuring me that moving the inauguration ceremonies inside will not impact security. He said they rehearsed for all options. Now, tonight, President-elect Trump kicking off the weekend with an event at his golf club in Virginia. And then tomorrow, he has a political rally planned in downtown D.C. Whip.
Mary Alice Parks, thank you. Overseas now, and the new demands in the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the deal is on hold until Hamas provides the names of hostages to be released on Sunday morning. And Israel released photos and videos of hospital rooms and other preparations for the freed hostages. ABC's foreign correspondent Tom Sufi-Burridge in Jerusalem tonight.
Tonight, with a ceasefire deal in Gaza just hours away from taking effect, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu casting doubt on whether the initial 6-week truce will turn into a permanent ceasefire. Netanyahu saying both President-elect Trump and President Biden agreed Israel could restart the war if negotiations with Hamas for phase 2 of the deal prove futile. On Sunday, Hamas will free the first 3 female civilian hostages. In return, Israel will release 95, mainly female, Palestinian detainees. A further 30 Israeli hostages, including 2 Americans, Keith Siegel and Sagi Dechelchen, should be set free by Hamas in phases over the next 6 weeks. In total, Israel will release around 1,800 Palestinian detainees, a mixture of convicts from Israeli prisons and hundreds of Gazans who were being held by Israel without charge. 84-year-old Oded Lifshitz is one of the oldest Israeli hostages still believed to be alive. Our Ian Panel speaking to his grandson, Daniel.
Absolutely. My stomach is flipping. It's very difficult. These days were very stressful, full with anxiety for each, piece of information that is going out.
And we're on negotiations to prolong the ceasefire beyond 6 weeks. An Israeli official saying Israel is sending a delegation to Cairo for talks. For now, though, all eyes on tomorrow and the first hostage prisoner exchange as part of this initial 6-week truce. Whit.
And so much at stake here. Tom Sufi-Burridge, thank you. And tune in to This Week tomorrow morning for more coverage on the ceasefire and hostage release. And Jonathan Karl sits down with former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon to discuss Donald Trump's plans for his second term. New concerns tonight about the bird flu, the virus now detected at a commercial poultry facility in Georgia. Poultry activities suspended in the state now, and nearby facilities under quarantine along with surveillance and testing. Authorities calling it a serious threat to the agriculture industry, but reassuring the public that the products on store shelves are safe. Here's ABC's Rena Roy.
Tonight, health authorities in Georgia on high alert after confirming the state's first commercial case of bird flu at a poultry facility. All poultry activities suspended statewide until further notice, from exhibitions to sales at flea markets and auctions. On Wednesday, a facility in Elbert County noticing signs of bird flu in their flock, emergency management deployed to dispose and disinfect. All commercial poultry operations in a 6-mile radius placed under quarantine and will undergo surveillance testing for the next few weeks. The state's agriculture commissioner calling it a serious threat to Georgia's #1 industry, but reassuring the public that the products available on store shelves are safe.
It's critical to know that no affected poultry products ever entered the food supply chain. There are significant protocols in place that prevent that from happening.
It comes nearly 2 weeks after the country's first death from bird flu was reported in Louisiana. Authorities say the patient, over 65 years old with underlying health conditions, was exposed to the virus through contact with domesticated birds in a backyard. The CDC analyzed the virus in that patient and found concerning new mutations which could help the virus infect people more easily. But so far, there has been no evidence of human-to-human spread.
With the federal government is taking no chances. As a precaution, there are already 2 bird flu vaccine candidates in the nation's stockpile. And Moderna was recently awarded nearly $600 million to help accelerate development of an mRNA vaccine for Americans. Whit.
Rena Roy, thank you. Now to a big day in the NFL in the divisional round of the playoffs. The Kansas City Chiefs keeping their quest for a Super Bowl three-peat alive after defeating the Houston Texans in a thriller. Here's ABC's Phil Lipoff.
Tonight, the Kansas City Chiefs marching toward their third straight appearance in the Super Bowl. The Houston Texans keeping the pressure on Patrick Mahomes early. But this long pass to Travis Kelce set the defending champs up for their first touchdown. In the other marquee matchup, fans flooding Ford Field as their top-ranked Detroit Lions take on the upstart Washington Commanders, led by rookie phenom Jaden Daniels.
I go out there and stick to your routine, stick to who you are, the process of what got you there. Go out there and just play football.
Both cities rewriting history. The Commanders haven't made it this far in 20 years. Tonight, they're trying to upset a Lions team hunting for the franchise's first trip to the Super Bowl, narrowly missing that chance last year.
The 49ers are going to the Super Bowl.
Heartbreak in the divisional round is a familiar feeling for both MVP frontrunners. Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen and Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson go head-to-head Sunday night, both looking to continue their historic seasons.
I think that's why you play this game, is to be in moments like these.
And as firefighters race to fully contain those wildfires in L.A., the Los Angeles Rams hope they can continue to be a bright spot for families and first responders navigating this dark time.
You represented exactly what we wanted to be about, man. A city that's going through a lot of different stuff that can look to you guys and say, I'm proud of that group.
The Chiefs are looking to be the first team to win 3 consecutive Super Bowls, but they are going to have their hands full next week when they face an MVP frontrunner. Whit?
Yep, a lot of football left to play. Phil Lipoff, thank you. There's still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Saturday, including the frightening crash on the slopes. Dozens were tossed from the chairlift. Next tonight, a frightening accident on a ski slope in Spain. A chairlift malfunction, tossing skiers onto the mountain. At least 30 people were hurt, 9 seriously, and dozens more were left trapped on the lift. It's not known what caused the accident, but one witness says a cable may have malfunctioned. And we have sad news to report tonight, the passing of former ABC News correspondent Beth Nissen. She reported for World News Tonight and Nightline and was the anchor on duty the night in 1997 when Princess Diana was killed in a car crash. Beth later worked for CNN and NBC. She died January 7th, 3 days after her 71st birthday. And we are thinking about her family tonight. When we come back, there wasn't a moment to lose. A trooper rushes to a burning car to save a man's life. To the index now, a newly released body camera and dash cam footage showing a dramatic rescue in Texas. Trooper Cody Durham came upon a burning car in Plano on January 9th. He ran straight into danger, opening the back passenger door and reaching in to pull out the driver, who was trapped inside. The driver was taken to a hospital for treatment. Trooper Durham was also treated for minor smoke inhalation. Overseas now, and 4th round play begins tonight at the Australian Open. For the women, 3rd seed Coco Gauff meets Belinda Bencic. Gauff has yet to lose a set, and she's one of 3 Americans still competing, along with Emma Navarro and Madison Keys. On the men's side, defending champ Jannik Sinner beat American Marcos Giron in straight sets earlier today. 4 other American men have advanced to round 4. When we come back, it looked like the whole neighborhood would burn down until something remarkable happened. Finally tonight, America Strong. He prayed for a miracle and got it.
Oh, my house.
When the Eaton fire broke out last week, it came perilously close to the Pasadena home of retired fire captain Rich Snyder.
Greg, go! Get out of here!
The 36-year-old veteran with the Sierra Madre Fire Department jumped into action to save his home and 6 others.
This fire 2 doors away, in this type of wind, I was going to lose my house. I was going to lose my whole neighborhood.
All he and his nephew had to fight the fast-moving flames were garden hoses and a prayer.
Lord, help us. Help us save our homes. Most importantly, save us, Lord. My garage is on fire.
When he heard an elderly neighbor in distress, he raced to bring him to safety.
There's nothing we can do. We need to get him out of here.
Then, just as the fire was closing in, a van containing 100 gallons of fire retardant pulled up.
The fact that the guys happened to be coming down the 210 freeway with that truck full of the Phos-Chek, it was a miracle. To turn around and see that, I thought I was dreaming.
Working through the night and into the next day, Rich, his nephew, and 2 neighbors helped save their block from complete destruction.
People keep coming up to me and saying it's a miracle. Thank you, you did all this. You're a hero. This is by the grace of God. This happened.
Tonight, Rich and his neighbors together again, grateful.
We're banding together and going through it together.
Thanks so much for watching. I'm Wick Johnson in New York. Have a great night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.